Yo, okay, hold on. One Piece chapter 1089. First and foremost, gotta go ahead and say this. That cover page, man, Oda did Sanji so dirty. He did him so dirty, man. So you got the cow giving a note that's coming from Sanji saying, "Hey, Nami Swan, let's go stargazing together. The stars are so pretty tonight. They look just like you." And Nami just sends out a note saying, "I already saw the stars tonight. Sorry." Yo, that is such a troll move, man. That is such a troll move. Sanji can't get no riz going. Like, holy man. But I like how the chapter opens up where you have all this devastation is going on. So you have a moment where everyone's like, oh, okay, so Garp, he's gone missing. Is Garp actually alive? Is he dead? You see people at Windmill Village, they're freaking out. We see that the small baby that Maiko is carrying, she's basically looking at him like, oh, okay. You know, he recognizes Luffy. And you have a moment where, as this is going on, we start seeing earthquakes. And at first, it's just the East Blue. And then it's the South Blue where there's a tsunami. Then there's the West Blue. And then there's the North Blue. And at first I'm going, did Garp, and you're going to make fun of me for this, but I was like, did Garp and Aokiji's Shockwave produce something like this, right? Like I was all up on the Garp hype train, right? And then it hit me. I said, wait a second, they couldn't produce that much because if they would have, then it would have sank like the ship where everyone was on. So I was like, what's going on here? And so that's where we turn the page. And we see how it isn't just on all the different seas. It's also on the Grand Line. We see as Iceberg is looking with Water 7. And you see how you have this moment where Crocus is looking at it and Crocus is freaking out. And you see Momonosuke, he's looking, and my thoughts immediately went, okay, wait a second. They're having tsunamis. Like, Wano is already in danger of being flooded. What's going on? And then all of a sudden the narrator starts talking, and the narrator's like, that quake happened just 6 days after the vanishing of the Lulusa Kingdom Island. And you see Emu the whole time just looking on. And it's like, okay, right now, that's Final Villain. Like I was already kind of thinking it, that's Final Villain. I was still holding out hope. I was hoping against hope that it was Blackbeard. It might be Emu. And so what I like is that we find out that the earthquake caused worldwide sea level destruction where it rose up 1 meter, and the island that blast that took it down, it's gone so deep that the hole hasn't even begun to start filling up. And you see more of the devastation. You see as some islands have just been flooded altogether. And as this is going on, we see just how big of a buster call that has been summoned for Luffy. And it just shows you, that's why they say, like, don't engage one of the emperors unless you have orders from Navy HQ. Because if they're sending out this much for Luffy, it just kind of makes you wonder what else would they do for an even stronger emperor. But again, it makes sense just given the sense that we were told this is going to be even larger than what happened on Nico Robin's Island. But what I like about this is that we get told it's a nation-sized fleet. There's 100 ships there. There's 20 massive battleships. There are 32,000 sailors gathered around. And as Sentomaru and Kizaru are going back and forth and they're talking, Kizaru's like, look, you know, yeah, Kuma, those space lasers that are being shot out of the Pacific clones, they might have been made studying my power, but here's the thing. You can't sit there and say, I never thought you would have come after Dr. Vegapunk, because at the end of the day, I can't defend him studying the Void Century. You know that's a crime. I'm just another cog in the machine. And what I like about this is that whereas in the last chapter we see is how Garp was willing to buck the system, Kizaru is content just filling in his role. He calls himself another cog in the machine, basically hiding behind his authority as a Navy admiral. And it's one of those things where you just see the contrast, and this makes you appreciate Garp all the more. Like, you already appreciated him when you saw like the flashback when Ace was dying, and you saw like the events leading up to Gold Roger's death and everything. But it's one of those things where you just look at this and you realize how special Garp is. And the whole time that this is going on, we see how cold-hearted Saturn is, because he's basically acting as one of the five elders there, because he is one of the five elders. And he says, like, okay, like, I don't care what Morgan has in the World Economic News. Let me know what's really going on here. Bring me up to the status update. And so he gets the lay of the land and everything that's going on. And we see that this dude, he ain't afraid to make the cold-hearted decision, because he says, okay, so the Frontier Dome's barrier is at 100%. Nothing can get in. It's been an entire day. We don't know everything that's going on. That's cool. Where are the researchers and technicians from Egghead? And when he gets told, hey, they got out of the island yesterday, they evacuated, you can tell, like, the Navy people, like, we're just going to let them go. This man looks over. He's got a sinister look on his face. He says, okay, so you letting them go? No, I want you to go ahead and sink them. You got their coordinates. If they know too much, they got to go. And it just shows that the world government does not want this information about the Void Century to get out. And what we find out is that he does let Bonnie go safe. And I think that some of that does have to actually go with the whole thing with Kuma. I think that that's another plot thread that is going to get introduced some here. I think that you are going to have something potentially with Bonnie and Saturn. I might be overhyping Bonnie at this point, but the fact that he's the one that let her go, and you have the moment where Saturn is shown pausing as he's speaking, giving very calculated answers. It's one of those things where Oda's definitely planting seeds. And so we then transition over, and at first Oda got me here, right? Oda completely got me here. So you have this moment where York is talking to the remaining four elders, and she's like, hey, this is really messed up. Why are you trying to kill me too? You know, you only know about everything that's happened here on the island because I'm the one that told you. You're trying to kill me. And I totally missed that she's got these bruises on her cheek. I totally missed that, because like the Straw Hats, they've already roughed her up at this point. And what I like here is that she's negotiating even in this situation. And we have this moment where she's basically saying, I can definitely make that mother flame for you. That's what you want. I can make that. You want to play around. I'm not surprised that you want it. The tools to make it, they're here on this island. You got to promise you're not going to hurt me. You're not going to hurt the lab. I want you to make me a celestial dragon. They tell them essentially that, like, hey, it's going to be done. And then we end off where she starts freaking out. She says, come save me before Straw Hat Luffy kills me. And you see the elders and Kizaru and Saturn like, whoa, 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 whoa. What's going on here? And we get this moment where all the Straw Hats, and you got Zoro. This is the troll move. You got Zoro holding the sword right over her head, and she's chained up. And you got Usopp with this super sinister look on his face, pointing the transponder snail over at her. And Nami's going, okay, I see how all this fits together. And Luffy's like, okay, so I guess we're going to use her as a shield. I don't understand everything going on. Nami, you do the thinking for me. Bonnie's like, okay, this is a hostage situation. I like how, as you see this, you can just go back and you can see as York's face is continuing to change. And in particular, once she started trying to go for and negotiate to get more leverage in the situation, in particular, when she says, promise me you won't hurt me or the lab, and she's asked to be made into a celestial dragon, her eyes are shaded out. That's because Zoro basically pulled that sword, put the fear of God in her. This was crazy. This was a hell of a cliffhanger to end the chapter on, because I didn't see that. I totally missed it. And then when I finished the chapter, I went, oh, she was held hostage the whole time. Like, the signs are all there. I like this, man. This is again where you start seeing, like, Luffy is unpredictable, but Luffy is actually very dangerous, and it's because of the people that Luffy has around him. So my chapter question to you guys is, how impressive was it that Luffy was able to turn the tables like this? And do you agree with me that we're setting something up in the future for Bonnie and for Saturn? Which, as a reminder, because as I'm recording this, I am recording this on January 2nd, 2024. So I am almost caught up. the most recent manga chapter should be, let me see what's on the Viz Media app, because that's what I'm reading this from. The most recent manga chapter is 1102. So I will be getting caught up very soon. So be on the lookout, because I am going to be doing One Piece content. I am going to be doing like the lore videos and explain videos, video essays, things of that nature. That is coming. We'll move away from the podcast. We'll move away from the podcast style reviews eventually, but I am going to be doing more higher quality edited content. So be on the lookout for that. But so always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.